Hey guys, Ugo here. Welcome again to the 99 Days of Value. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a lovely day. And I hope things are going well for you. And if not, I hope there's a path. You see the path, the light at the end of the tunnel for you to get to where you want to get to. But obviously, we're back again with day 8. So 99 days, 91 to go to the new year day 2023. So I hope you guys are doing well. So today what we're going to talk about on day 8 of the 99 days of value. This one is like kind of like a twist on a kind of common phrase, and I'll explain why I'm saying this essentially. But to the day's value, hopefully adding to you, is why you should forgive but never forget. Now, obviously, I know they say forgive and forget, but that's not true. That's not even wise. That's not even the best way to go about it, if I'm being very honest. You should forgive, but don't forget. Now, the reason why I say that is that now, forgiveness, is I don't really take a lot of some within songs and stuff like that. I take in little bits and pieces of meaning, but one of the ones that I heard, don't know if you know this, but I'm going to reference this: Detroit versus Everybody. So for the first few times I ever say, okay, a rapper really put a word in a way that made things make sense to me. He said, holding a grudge is like letting somebody live in your head rent free. And the song was Detroit versus Everybody. And then it was Royce the 5'9" that said it. But that aside, if you don't know, you don't know, it's fine. But the point being is that forgiveness, for what most people don't realize, is for yourself. Now, obviously, when I said forgive, forgiveness is something that you should really be trying to do as frequently as possible, essentially because it's more for yourself. Now, I know when people hear forgive, they're like, oh, I'm not going to forgive this guy, I'm not going to forgive that girl, I'm not going to forgive that friend because that person hurt you. And it's legitimate that person hurt you. And there's some feeling that if you forgive this person, that for some reason you're letting them off, or for some reason you're condoning what they did, or for some reason you're co-signing it. Forgiving them has nothing to do with those things, because you can forgive them and still have the accountability that, listen, that this wasn't on. But this is where the don't forget comes in. Whoever you are, it doesn't matter. Life will come to teach you stuff. Experience is an excellent teacher, and living off of other people's experiences, and that's a PhD level. That's a professor. That's the best teacher. That's the best professor. Is living off of other people's experiences. The best teacher is living off of your own. And so life will come to teach you, so you can understand how people act, how people are, who means what in terms of your life, and also how you need to adjust. And sometimes you're getting the same lesson taught to you the same every time. And the reason why you don't forget is because these experiences that come into your life, however negative and however positive, have also come to teach you something. And so the reason why you don't forget, even, when I say forgiving somebody, you forgive them as per you release the power they have over you, and also release the kind of stranglehold you might have over them. You go back to treat them in a way similar to what you were treating them before they committed the quote-unquote action against you, with the caveat of any improved learning from that experience. So if, let's say, for example, you're giving this person money, you're giving this person money as per to help them out, and they didn't pay you back, cool, you might forgive them, and you might be helping them out still, and that might be how you define, treating them as you did before they actually, came across what they did anything to be forgiven. But the don't forget part is that now you can help them out, but you help them out with time and energy. You don't help them out with money. Because they fool me once, shame on them, fool me twice, shame on you. It's shame on you. If you don't learn from your situations and put that into practice, then ultimately you're going to keep on doing it. That's why it's important for you to forgive, because it's for yourself. But don't forget it. That's where the wisdom comes. The wisdom comes from understanding the knowledge, understanding of your situation, and then putting that into practice. That's the reason why you should forgive, but don't forget. So when the people say forgive and forget, no, it's just a way for you to also have that repeated in your life multiple times. If you've had the same thing happen to you multiple times, you haven't learned from the situation. That's just it. You haven't learned from the situation. Now, this is where, on the flip side, this is where people have a lot of frustrations, which is what some people do. You forget, but don't forgive. So somebody might have hurt you a couple of times, but you've forgotten what they've done, and as per you've forgotten what they've done, you have no basis of actions to actually start on how to even reconcile that situation. But because you've forgotten it, but you haven't forgiven, so forget, but you didn't forgive. That's even a worse one, because what people need to understand, or what you probably understand, is that people actually remember how you make them feel as opposed to what you actually did. And so you remember how they made you feel, but not necessarily what they did to you. So when you're in that scenario, it's like, if you forgive but don't forget, you're kind of in the forefront. If you forget but don't forgive, then you're in the back foot, because now it's very frustrating, because you now have a bad vibe from this person, and you this person maybe had a combination of stuff they've done to you that you can't even list one, but it's a legitimate feeling. So you don't even know where to start to even start forgiving this person, because the anger, the annoyance, everything is kind of built up on this person, and it's not necessarily a healthy place to be. So it's a tough one to kind of overcome, but it's a journey you're gonna have to make, because what you have to understand is that when you free yourself of holding other people to, to hold them to shackles, it's freeing for yourself, because it's like, somebody has hurt you once, and the person has gone about to live their life, but then you've attributed the next 5, 10 things that happened. It was my ex caused all of this, or my dad and mom caused all of this, my uncle caused all of this, my friend caused all of this, my boss, my employee, they did all of these things, but that person is gone. You haven't seen that person for 2 years, you've not seen that person for 5 years, you've not seen that person for 20 years. For some of you, you've not seen that person for 30 years. And yet, you can still attribute issues in your life. This person somewhere minding their own business has no idea that they're making this level of impact on your life. What does that mean? That the fact that you don't want to forgive, not that, the pain is what it was. I'm not trying to say, that, but it's almost not, it's somewhat self-inflicted, but in the fact that we do have the tools to save ourselves, and to, get that off ourselves. It, to forgive is obviously, as the Bible says, forgive 7 times over, 7 times, 7 times. I can say that forgiveness, is something that is for yourself, and that it's such a freeing experience. And I'm not one that is really about wasting time. And so it's not something that I would advise that you waste your time considering whether you should forgive. The only part you shouldn't even, and then at the same time, don't waste time on forgetting, whether you should forget. Now, obviously, if this is a close relationship with somebody, when I say forgive but don't forget, I don't mean, because this is not a healthy way at all either. Regardless if you were the person that was perpetrated, of course, if you forgive somebody, a one mark of forgiveness is that you're not going to be bringing this up every 5 seconds. You become a very unhealthy person. If you're going to be every day for the next 5 days, for the next 5 years, for the next 20 years, when I said don't forget, I don't mean if this is a friend of yours, every chance you get, you're able to make a joke about it, or make a side comment about where this person flops, or be able to make a little dig, or be able to... No, I'm saying, because the only way you're going to live normally with no anxiety is that you need to be able to forgive them, in that, look, I've released this power I've allowed this person to have over me. This person, yes, did wrong to me, but it just means that we have to readjust our relationship. That's what it is. You just need to readjust your relationship and establish and keep moving. The problem where we sometimes have is that you're still trying to make your relationship or friendship or whatever it is, that interpersonal relationship with that person, the same as what it was before this person did what XYZ to you. We always keep trying to run back to how things used to be, when the only constant in life is change. The only constant in life is change. So if in terms of reconcile with this individual, if somebody always pinched you, then that you have to tell the person, okay, cool, we're gonna be friends, gonna keep going, but you might have to wear gloves, or we're gonna have to be 1 meter apart. We don't hug buddy anymore, but we're cool, we'll chill. What you redefine the relationship, and you create new level, not boundaries, but like somewhat boundaries. That makes sense. You reestablish the lines of communication for you guys to move forward, as opposed to trying to find your way in navigating how things used to be. Used to be ain't what it means it's supposed to be. Yeah? Used to be ain't mean what it's supposed to be. Okay? Well, sometimes we're comfortable in discomfort, and so understand that forgiveness is such a powerful tool that most of us don't use. Grudges ain't, you know, stress is, probably the biggest killer. The second one under that is just grudges, holding grudges. It's not great for the soul, it ain't great for the heart, it just makes you angry. And the thing about holding on to these things so long is that it has a compounding effect. Compound interest is something we'll talk about in another day of value, but it's something that just makes it worse. And as I was saying, you keep going and keep anger, and what you focus on is how your reality will become. What you focus on, that you can only remember that this bad thing that this person did. Now, for example, if you had a very good relationship with somebody, or whether it's your parent, your friend, your sibling, whatever it is, and that they may have done this bad thing to you, and you're very, very much angry with them right now, I want you to take a second and think of 3 good moments you had with this person. For some of you, your instant reaction is like, I can't even remember any of them. But you were fine before what happened. So you're very much in this situation right now where you're clouded by that compounding effect of that grudge you've held. And ultimately, the only way you're going to be able to kind of see clearly now is if you're able to, first of all, in the space of this, try to forgive this person, because forgiving this person doesn't condone what they did, but it releases the energy and power that they have over you. And simultaneously, in that sense, forgiving yourself. Now, somebody's asked me before, what does forgiving yourself mean? Because when you sometimes, let's say somebody's done something wrong to you, you want to forgive this person, but then now you're angry at yourself because why did I allow this to happen? X, Y, Z. Now, the best way to think about it, about forgiving yourself, and this ties into self-love, is to treat yourself as if you're your own best friend. Now, you really have to even personify this to start off with at times. It's like, Ugo, why did you almost, even self, you have to be like, Ugo, you got to change it up. That's not my name, guys. My name is Ugo. Ugo. Anyway, but you have to remix it. And you almost have to talk to yourself. It's like, okay, let me call myself Fred for now. No, let me go Leonard. Hey Leonard, so what happened? You play yourself in that situation and give the advice to the person as if he was your best friend. And I say that in the sense of that we are our own worst critics. Some of you guys criticize yourself and demonize yourself. There's nothing good about me. Again, what you focus on is what you create you relate. Most times things aren't as good as they seem, but sometimes things aren't as bad as they seem, and you are not the devil. So don't demonize yourself as if you were. Give yourself the advice, put your situation and put that in your best friend's shoe, and ask yourself, what would you tell your best friend? What would you tell your best friend? Like, what was the honest thing? Maybe your judgment in this situation might not be great, so maybe you need to work on your decision making, or maybe you need to help somebody out. But look, you're fine. Like, things happen. You make a mistake, you go again. But it's important for you to learn from those mistakes and then keep going. You just give yourself the advice as if you were advising a best friend, and that's one of the easiest way to forgive yourself, because the kind of trap that you put yourself under is not great. So it's not great because you're playing in your head and you'll keep on demonizing yourself. We can be our own worst enemy, and when you're battling yourself, that's a very big fight, and that mental warfare is not easy. So forgive, but don't forget. This area, the don't forget part, is where the wisdom, where the value added into your life is. Try to avoid forgetting but not forgiving, because there's a lot of anger that builds up here. Forgive and don't forget don't work. And when you're trying to reestablish these things, understand that as it used to be ain't mean what it's supposed to be. And when you want to reestablish relationships that you already had, then you also have to find new ways of you guys interacting that avoids this situation. And it requires a change on that person, but it also requires a change on you. It always takes 2 to tango. If you're going to adjust the way this person speaks to you, you also have to adjust to the way you receive information, because clearly this person was saying this to you, but you were very much okay and complicit in it. And so it's about understanding what areas we have control in it and how we can change it, provided you want to keep that relationship. Obviously, there's always the option of stepping that relationship aside. But again, all these things is a long process. If it's a very close relationship to you, you're not going to just leave that tomorrow. You run back, because it's somebody that's become we're comfortable. We're people who get comfortable. You're used to your routine. This is somebody you see in your life every day. To just suddenly not see them, is a bit of a frustrating thing to go through. Give yourself a process to get through whatever situation you're getting through. But understand that there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and it's always best to lighten the load off of you. Now, the last analogy I'm going to give you around forgiveness is if you imagine that as we're going through life, we pick up so many things. If you imagine life's a journey, and it is a journey, it's not so imagining, but it is a journey. You're picking up so many experiences, so many happiness, sadness, joy, moments of exhilaration, moments of depression, exhilaration, all of those things. And if you imagine it like you're going through, you're a traveler, and you're picking up so much baggage. And so as you're going around, so much baggage, and that's the thing, your life experience, university degree, getting through council test states, traveling, trying to get out of my, degree, company I'm working, all this kind of thing, and you're carrying all these things on your back, and I've got to use some pillows, get as an allergy, and you're carrying all these things on the back, and you're still holding this water bottle. This is what this guy did to me in year 5. Now, I know like a cup of water seems easy to hold, but I want you to hold a cup for an hour and see how far you get. You might only, if you get to 10 minutes, you're on strong arm and you should all join the competition. But where forgiveness comes into play is that, look, I'm carrying all this load, but I decide I want to drop this. It makes my load a little bit smaller and makes it a little bit easier to carry everything else. And so when we're overloading ourselves, we're not necessarily in a position to even, carry anything and progress ourselves. We're dragging ourselves back. So ultimately, that's what forgiveness is here for. Forgiveness is here for you. Don't forget what happened, because that's where the wisdom also is here for you. And, sometimes, you might have to sit down and reflect, oh my God, that thing happened to me multiple times and I didn't even listen to it. And it might come back again if you ain't listening again. And, prevention is always better than cure. But when it comes down to it, forgiveness is the best cure for yourself, for your mental state, your mind, and your soul, for you to keep moving forward and have the bandwidth and space to deal with everything else that's going with you. If you're looking for peace and happiness, you need to do a lot of forgiveness to get there. And you ain't getting to forgiveness, to get into like peace and happiness without a level of forgiveness. What you're getting to is just avoidance. Now, people are more, and don't get twisted, if you're not able to forgive, that's your prerogative. But what you need to be able to do is to accept whatever situation happened to you. Don't forget it, accept it. It happened, can't change the past. You can change the present. And ultimately, that'll change the future. If you're around my age, most of us are going to still have more time to live than we've actually lived. I'm 26. So to be some extent, I have 2 lifetimes more of what I've lived already to go. Am I going to waste all of that doing anger because of what somebody did like 2 months ago? Similarly, regardless of your age, let's say you're 60, 70, 80. And let's say you have, in your mind, average age is, let's say right now 100, you got 20, 40 years. You're going to use the rest of your time holding a grudge. Does that seem really worth it? Hey, people make their choices. But this has been the 99 Days of Value. My name has been Ugo. Your name has been blessed, and I hope you're doing well. I hope this provided some value to you and a different perspective than how you should, how to see things. So take care, and yeah, don't forget to smile. It really does make a difference. Take care.